A motion to resume open session at 6:01 p.m. Councillor Canis, second by Councillor Pelkman. All in favor? That motion carries. Council met in closed session to consider matters it is permitted to do so under the Municipal Act and is listed on tonight's council agenda. The following items were considered during the closed session. One item in accordance with Council's procedure bylaw to approve in-camera meeting minutes of April 7th. The minutes were approved as written. Two items pursuant to Section 239 of the Act regarding advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, Mount Bridges campus, and a procurement matter. Council received legal advice and direction was given to staff. Motion the direction given in closed session be approved. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Brennan. All in favor? Motion carries. Councillor Derbyshire.
Yep.
Are you in favor? Sorry.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. This evening, our one lone delegation is the Middlesex County Warden, Sue Clark, is going to provide a presentation to us.
Do I need this? I guess it works then.
Yep.
Yeah. Once again, I'm Sue Clark, and happy to be here tonight. I've also brought along, because he's a lot smarter than I am, and he can explain a lot of things a lot easier, I'm sure, is Paul Shipway, our CAO of Middlesex County. Oh, there we go. There we go. You've got the technical skills. So I think I've met pretty well everyone around the horseshoe here, and some as recent as from Good Road, so it's nice to see everybody again. We wanted to just be here tonight. We're going to go to all the municipalities and provide a brief update on some of the key initiatives that are underway at Middlesex County and how they connect to supporting the local municipalities as well as the communities that we serve. We're going to start off by, I'll just direct your attention to the screen there, by looking at the strategic plan, that everything we do is grounded in that. And everything that the county is looking at achieving this term and onward is in the hopes of aligning our 4 core priorities. So economic development is our first one, collaboration and partnerships are second, sustainability, infrastructure development, and adaptability and agility. And what you're going to see today are practical examples of how that strategy is being implemented, particularly where the county is supporting growth, infrastructure, and regional coordination. And Paul, I'll let you jump in on the ECDEV portion here, if you don't mind. Heather could probably do it too.
Thank you, and thanks for having us. We always like the opportunity to get out in our capacity here. So yes, County Council recently has done a deep dive into economic development and tourism. Over this term, actually has considered the mechanism of delivery quite a bit, and ultimately we landed on our updated strategy. It's really focused on being very transparent with what we're doing, regional coordination, understanding that our local municipalities control the water wastewater, which is really what facilitates development, and how we can bring leads and bring information to the locals to support that development across the county. So we're excited about that, and it's also been a key shift on measurable outcomes. So we'll have quarterly reports to County Council, which obviously will be circulated out, and to the local municipal working group to see how we're doing. How are we translating FDI into outcomes on the ground? How are we addressing our county-wide deficiency in an industrial assessment? So it'd be exciting to move forward with that. And then also we'd like to note just a few of the programs, and we touched on this when we were here in the fall, the CISP program, so the Community Improvement Support Program, where the county under certain streams will reimburse 50% of local contributions to community improvement plans to allow your funds to go further for the specific initiatives that your municipality has identified. The county loan program exists. It's a 0% loan program to fund water wastewater infrastructure specifically, but there are other opportunities on there. And then also the County Employment Lands Readiness Program, because as we move on here, we need to identify those employment lands. So there's also a loan program for those studies. I think next Just let me keep rocking here. Next up is our forest management plan, and our county forester, Mark Brown, was pretty famous. He was in the news. We're updating our county forest management plan, and again, when I was here last time, we talked about how proud we are of the significant amount of forests we have within the county, and so we're updating that management plan about how we'll maintain those and practice silviculture and protect it from disease. So there's a survey and a draft strategy out right now for community feedback, and we've had great feedback so far, likely our most feedback on anything we've consulted on in the past 5 years. So that's out there, the link's available, and we look forward to feedback on that so we can get it finalized. I think another key item that's near and dear to Strathroy-Caradoc would be our library master plan. So we're really trying to establish master plans for our key service areas to identify what our services look like for the next 25 to 30 years. And one of those that we really need to look at is our library services. So we deliver services at comprehensive branches and have a number of basic branches, and we need to identify where those are going to have to be or be enhanced as we move forward as our population continues to grow. So there'll be a consultation and engagement framework associated with that as well, and we look forward to sharing that as we move forward. The consultant was just awarded at the most recent library board meeting, so keep an eye out for that. I think next, another one the county has partnered on with the municipality of Strathroy-Caradoc is Middlesex County Connect. So at the end of the year, Route 4, which was what I'm going to call the Strathroy to Sarnia route, was uploaded to the county. Strathroy-Caradoc showed great leadership in being involved in that. And now moving it into the Middlesex County Connect platform, we're partnering with the City of London, the City of Sarnia, and the City of St. Thomas to try to make regional transportation a reality in this area for a long period of time. We have the Ontario Transit Implementation Fund program for 5 years, and we're diligently working with private sector partners to continue to enhance and refine that service. So there's a link there to the 2025 year in review, which also brings in the Strathroy-Caradoc data. And I think it's exciting to see how the service grows, and we'll continue to try to find ways to leverage private sector investment in that, because what we see from the data is our on-off stops are really post-secondary education institutions, healthcare, and economic sources. So we're excited to continue to expand that. Next up, we would just touch on our infrastructure investment 2026 capital program. So again, it's fairly significant from a county perspective. 27.2 million, over 80% of that is dedicated towards transportation infrastructure. So thinking roads, bridges, culverts. We have a couple significant projects on the books. We also have the rebuild of the Bryanston Garage, ensuring that all of our assets are maintained and ready to support growth. So there's a link to our budget and the highlight sheet there as well. Next on the list would be Human Services and Housing. So I know you had our Director of Human Services, Joe Windsor, out recently. He's been doing the tour to the local municipalities, and we continue to play a supporting role in housing and human services. Our focus is really on enabling those outcomes through homelessness prevention and advancing an ever-changing planning and policy framework to ultimately support housing. And then we continue to work to strengthen and enhance that relationship with the housing service provider, the City of London, as the service manager. We currently contribute about 7.4 million annually to the regional housing system through the City of London, and we're actively exploring partnerships to advance housing attainability in the community. And one of those key examples has been the Housing Accelerator Fund, which Strathroy-Caradoc is a recipient of. And also recently, the CBO group across the county with county involvement and some great numbers from North Middlesex in regards to building permits. We've obtained access to another tranche of funding to work on the Design Ready program for ARU units. So we're excited to roll that out, and there'll be some engagement on that as well. So exciting things happening in the housing area. Next up, we'll go to MLPS. So it continues to be that we remain focused on strong response performance and adapting to the increasing demands on healthcare. MLPS was highlighted at AMO last year for their rapid response units, which we're extremely proud of. And we're excited that medical priority dispatch system will be moving into the London Middlesex area, so that should help with triaging and ultimately responses. And I would leave that to our emergency services professionals around this horseshoe and at the county to speak about in more detail, but I know our team's really excited about it. The county had previously advocated for control of dispatch, similar to Niagara region, and ultimately that was unsuccessful, but this seems to be a close second in that sense. So we're excited to see how those changes shake out as we move forward here. Shared services, obviously, the warden touched on a strategic priority is that collaboration and partnership. And we're really trying to enhance where we can and provide value. I think we continue to expand those. I know we're working on an updated planning services agreement with all the locals right now. We provide ITS across the county and partner with municipalities as they look forward. And one of our most successful ones as of late that has grown rapidly since 2023 is procurement services. And I know Josh White is here this evening. We're really excited about the difference procurement services have been making across the county. And when our update report on the statistics of how that service has flourished and provided value across the county, we're excited to share that later this year. So we continue to look at those opportunities, and I would just point out one other one tied into the Housing Accelerator Fund. We've been working with Strathroy-Caradoc, and Strathroy has actually been a leader across the county to work on a data sharing initiatives, and we're very appreciative for that because in the long run that's going to pay dividends when we look at growth monitoring frameworks across the county. So we're very appreciative of that and look forward to next steps just to focus on enhanced community outcomes and reduce duplication. Building on that, another thing we're collectively collaborating on, the clerks and directors of legislative services across the county are doing a 2026 municipal elections readiness and candidate engagement process. So there is the session, I think it's next week on April 28th, if I'm not mistaken. So that'll be excited for the candidate info session, and then the clerks are working collaboratively on council orientation, on compliance audit committee. Again, just trying to be as efficient as we can with our resources across the county. So wanted to highlight that and the great work of the clerks across the county. Finally, I think last time we ended on the final slide of the Governance Administration Center. It was more conceptual at that point in time. Construction is ongoing. The project awarded for $14.7 million, funded through a combination of reserves and an Infrastructure Ontario loan, is anticipated for completion in fall of 2026. I believe the goal is to have the final council meeting of this term of council in the existing courthouse building and have the first meeting of the next council in the new building. So a lot of movement between those pictures and when we can go in and operate it, but we'll see how it goes. There's still a bit of time between now and then, but ultimately council has made a decision for a long-term investment to modernize into a modern work environment that's accessible, has universal design principles, and will set us up for the future as we move forward. So we're excited about that and excited to host everyone once that gets completed. And I think from a staff perspective, that would be it. But the warden and I are obviously very appreciative for getting the invite out, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have. If we can't answer them between the two of us today, we'll follow up almost immediately with writing. And we just point out that this is just an opportunity to present, but the opportunity to engage and communicate exists every day, and we look forward to those conversations and just appreciate everything Strathroy-Caradoc does for the county.
Thank you. Thank you. Before I turn it over to councillors for questions, you in a segue about staff, and I hadn't mentioned this to you, Warden or Paul, you talked about human services and Joe Windsor and the homelessness program. About 3 Saturdays ago, I was reached out to on a Saturday, someone looking for emergency shelter for themselves and their son. On Saturday, Joe took my phone call and was able to place those people in the motel program. So that's a shout out for staff at every level that Joe was able to do that on a Saturday. I hadn't mentioned that to you, so thank you for that.
That's great to hear. That's really great to hear because we want action immediately when there's a problem, especially in that area. So that's good to hear.
Yep.
Any questions from anybody?
Councillor Kennis.
Just a question, I guess, on conservation authorities. We had a meeting of the St. Clair Conservation Authority last week, and we learned more about the restructuring of conservation authorities. And we were told that the western Lake Erie region, which we're part of, will now, I guess the governance will move to the upper tier rather than at the municipal level. And in this particular case, that will mean representation from, they're talking about a 20-member board and representation from Essex County, Chatham-Kent, Lambton, the City of London, part of Perth, part of Oxford, Elgin County, and then Middlesex County. So, and it'll be chosen, the board will be set based on population. So just rough calculation in my head, that probably means Middlesex County would be down to 1 seat on those new boards, and the levy will also be set at the upper tier level as well. So just from the meeting our board had last week, there's lots of talk, but doesn't seem to be a lot of meat on the bone yet when it comes to that. I was just wondering whether the county has been brought into this at all at this point, or yeah, just wondering what your view on all of this is at this point.
Thanks for the question, Frank, and it's one that we've been asked by many, many people on the street and everywhere else, and you're familiar with the changes that are occurring. I've had several meetings with Josh Morgan, he's spearheaded them, and Rob Flack attended the most recent one, and he readily admitted that, you know, some of this they're making up as they go. We did give him a lot of good feedback to take back to Minister McCarthy, and representation was one of the key pieces, as well as, I'll call them reserves for lack of a better descriptor, whether it was land that was donated or finances, that we strongly feel that they should stay in the community in which they were meant to be in. So those were two of the key takeaways. You can add something if you'd like.
Yeah, the warden obviously has been attending these meetings to represent the county. I think I would say we had our spring emergency management meeting this morning, and it was top of mind with the flooding across Ontario about the importance of conservation authorities. At this point in time, the details are scarce, but that would be our preliminary assumption based on available data, is that the county will have a single representative on each of the 3 CAs. So as previously 5, will be down to 3, and we intend to have a meeting with the minister again after a couple weeks here of sitting, and then advocate to the best of our abilities. But our read on this is the province has made a decision on this, and it may be tinkering around the edges. There's not an opportunity for wholesale changes on that, so we're trying to be strategic with our advocacy and fight winning battles. But we will obviously submit to the ERO when anything does get posted by the province, and circulate that to all municipalities within the county, but scarce details at this point in time.
Are there any other further questions? Thank you, Warden, and Paul, for that presentation very much. You're
And
welcome.
just before we go, I just wanted to say that thanks for hosting us this evening, and if you ever have any questions or concerns that you think we're not listening to at the county level, please reach through Deputy McGuire or Councillor McGuire and Councillor Grantham, who are on County Council, and they can bring those forward, or at any time pick up the phone and call me. I'm always available to meet and to speak with any of you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll now move on to our first public meeting, or only public meeting. Motion to open the public meeting to consider an application for zoning bylaw amendment for the property located at 273 Francis Street be open. Deputy Mayor, second by Councilor Hippel. All in favor? The motion carries. Mr. Williams, we will turn it to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. This is a rezoning application for that property, as you mentioned, Francis Street. This is the second time we're having a public consultation on this particular matter of rezoning. We had an open house originally that was held a few weeks ago. The report goes into some of the details of things that were raised during that meeting, so I won't reiterate all of those, but just note that they were a part of the consideration for this final report. This is a property that's being rezoned to R3 with no site-specific details, no site-specific amendments. That would be something that a future developer or group would be responsible for doing and bringing forward again through a public process. But for now, it's looking, this application is looking to rezone to R3. The report goes through all of the policy-related matters that one needs to assess for an application such as this. This will represent an intensification of this property. It will result in the rezoning from an open space designation to a zone category that would allow for multi-unit buildings up to apartment style buildings, but the expectation is that it would be somewhere in the range of townhouses to stacked townhouses with the development on the property. With that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions as we move forward here, but I think the important piece to note is that this is an application that's being brought forward through the half funding process, and that there isn't a specific proposal that's tied to this rezoning. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments or questions from members of the public? Are there any comments or questions from members of council? Councillor Wilsey.
I have a question, not about this specifically, but in the high-level servicing letter, it specifically calls out the Metcalfe Street pumping station is going to need to be upgraded over the long term. So all I want to just double check with engineering is that this was covered in the water and wastewater rate study, and that upgrade is already being planned for sometime in the next few years. Because it does say in the report it's going to be at 100 and something % capacity as we go forward with normal growth rates.
I don't know if either Walter or Jake can answer that, or if you have to.
Through the chair to Councillor Wilsey, I don't have it in front of me, that information, but we can definitely look into it and see what the plan is for that pumping station there.
And just so that it wasn't an immediate concern, it was in the long-term plan. So it's not anything to do with this development. This said there were still 190 units that could be put here. So it's not specifically for this, it was just, it got brought up in the report, so I just wanted to make sure staff was aware of it and made sure it was in our wastewater study.
Thank you. Councillor Pelkman.
Yes, thank you. I think I've spoken at every meeting about this, that I'm not entirely in favor of selling the whole piece. I would like to see the smallest piece possible sold to meet our things that are required for the half funding. I know that I'm going to lose that battle. And I guess I would like to suggest that as we're going through the planning process, that we could, if something is going to be multi-level or built up, that maybe the properties around the edge could be more of what is built around the area, and then the higher intensification in the middle. That gives the residents that are there a little bit of a buffer to the visual starkness of potentially a 3-story wall. I guess this is the third time I've had to make this speech in the last couple of weeks about what the upper levels of government are more or less forcing us to do. They say there's a housing crisis, but as Councillor Kennis put it, we've passed lots of stuff within this town, but we have not been a barrier to housing being built. Stuff is just not being built because conditions aren't right to build it. And yet here we are being imposed these rules on us to get something done. And yet over the course of the last 25 years, what we haven't had built is what these things are asking us to build. So it's I wish that stuff was being built and sold as fast as possible, it'd be a lot easier to justify the rules that are being put in here. But what we do need, not only in this community, but in communities all across Middlesex County and southwestern Ontario, are units that working people can rent. And that does not exist in this town. So, but I'm still hesitant. I think sometime in the future, we're gonna regret selling this piece of property. In the back of my head, I hope that there's no proposal to this property, and then we can deal with that as it comes.
Thank you. Councilor Derbyshire, then the Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. I just had a question through you to, I believe it's the Manager of Growth and Development. The council report says that this is 2.7 hectares. And the study that was done, the high level, only studied 1.1 hectares. Why? Just trying to, if we're transferring and selling, this is kind of to Councillor Pelkman's point, are we selling the whole thing, or how come the study only did 1.1 hectares of that total property?
Through the chair, I believe that's just a typo in the council report. It's 2.75 acres, which is 1.1 acres.
So it's not hectares, it's 2.7 acres.
Deputy Mayor, then Councillor Palmer. And I'll go to this side.
So Councillor Pelkman, you said you thought you might lose your argument, but I don't think you're going to lose your argument on the whole lot site, just from the questions that are coming up. My question goes back to that, and it goes over to planning, Tim. This evening, what we're doing is taking a large plot of land, that which on the diagram is in the yellow. Thank you, Councillor Palmer just brought it up for me. And saying that entire piece of land will go R3. But the next step in this process then is potentially going out for some sort of development idea, putting I guess like an RFP out or whatever, and saying, who's interested in developing this, and what would that look like? And if they come in with a proposal that only satisfies the 19 houses that is the Housing Accelerator Fund stuff, they probably won't get the entire parcel of land. So I think, like to Councillor Pelkman's point, we're zoning it all for R3 tonight, I guess, but we don't know what's going to go on yet with that. That's the next step in the process. Is that correct, Tim?
Through the chair, that is correct. The development, there's a number of more steps, but this allows for a development of the maximum size to move forward. And if it's scaled back, or if it's a situation where council chooses a project that doesn't require that level of development intensity, then that would be dictated by the future decisions that are made. And there's a 2 or 3. So there's the RFP, and then there would be the actual agreement that's associated with that, the potential severance or not, and then a site plan process. And we can have a lot of touch points along those roads.
Thank you.
Yeah. Councillor Derbyshire, just your microphone's on here. We'll turn over to Councillor Palmer.
Yeah, I guess I'm hopeful that this will all be a positive outcome. I see from the open house, the public open house, citizens are concerned about the loss of open space and parkland, and I can certainly appreciate that. It's always nice when you have a cluster of houses, if there's a common place for kids to gather and play. And I guess I'm optimistic and hopeful that perhaps we'll see a plan that will come to us that will include that could be used by the whole community. That would certainly be something that I would judge very favorably, so that it would not, we're not just looking at the needs of the residents that will be living in this square, this plot of property, but something that could help enhance, the community in general. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what might be presented, and I'm hopeful that it'll be something that'll be creative and meet the needs of some affordable housing in our community, but at the same time also provide some of that open space that is always nice to have in the center of a town.
Any other further questions? Seeing none, then motion to close the, sorry, I see a hand back there.
I just have a
Can
question.
you go to the microphone, introduce yourself? Sure.
Hi, my name's Tessa Shea, and I'm one of the residents in the area. And I just have a question because from the open house, one of the numbers that we were told was about 100 units. And just in the meeting, I heard 190 showing up in talking to the water. So I'm just curious as to why that's a difference since the open house meeting, and also just further to the green space. There was a portion of a section that would just be, if you're standing in front of the police station to the left, where it was the thought that that land wouldn't necessarily be a part and that that could be considered as an open space if there was an open space in the development. And since that open house meeting, there's trees that have been taken down and now that grass has been removed. So just wanting to understand the difference since the open house meeting to where we are today.
I think we can answer the last one
Yeah.
first, because I asked the same question about that. Who wants to answer about what the, go ahead. Fair question.
Thank you, Chair, to the guest. That area that's being cleared is for a temporary parking lot at this moment for construction workers as well as construction laydown area for when they start doing the work on the police station.
Okay.
And then the first part of your question was about the number of units, correct, Ellen?
Yeah, because that's a significant difference.
Yeah, so what that was looking at is the servicing study looked at what was available on the pumping station before it needed an upgrade, and that's 190. So meaning the servicing can handle well more than what would be expected on the site.
And that took into consideration because there was a sewage problem that had happened just a couple weeks before the open house, and that knowing that there had been water problems about 10 years or so before due to town water problems. That was just things that we wanted to make sure were looked into.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So motion to close the public meeting. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Kennis. All in favor? Motions carry. The two motions are the report regarding rezoning application for 273 Francis Street reapproved. And further, the bylaw be referred to the consideration of bylaws section of the agenda for consideration and approval. So I'm going to bring Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Brennan. All in favor? Opposed, if any? Motion carries. There is 1 minute in front of you, the minutes of April 7th, the regular council meeting, be approved. Someone to bring that motion. Councillor Kennis, second by Councillor Brennan. All in favor? Motion carries. There are, if I counted correctly, 7 items on the consent agenda to be received for information. Anyone wishing to pull any item? Councillor Derbyshire.
10 point, hold on, I clicked on it, that's a bad idea. 10.2.1.
Okay. Are there any others? See, now I'm going to go ahead, Councillor Derbyshire, and we'll receive them for information at the end.
Okay. This is a report for alterations to this town hall. The background is that we're just going to receive it for information, but it does say it was approved in the capital budget for $50,000. That we are going to open up all of the windows that were sealed 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
For customer service. So my question would be, that's assuming that we're all moving down to 137 with customer service. Does that mean that this place will be locked back up? Because the reason that these walls were put in place was that no one felt safe with the windows and people wandering around. So how now are we going to feel safe if we're not locking this place back up? How are we going to open up the windows and provide safety when people can still wander freely around the town hall?
Fair enough. Are you prepared to answer that? I think it was in the report.
Through the chair to Councillor Derbyshire, that'll be a council decision to lock up town hall. I would suspect we have no direction at this point to do that. You'll notice in the report that when we sealed up the windows that you were referencing, there were some unintended operational and safety concerns that occurred. So opening them back up again helps resolve some of those issues. There has been conversations within the offices to install panic buttons should staff feel the need to do that. If there is someone who is in town hall, or we can simply call 911. The intention is not to use these windows as customer service counters, because the customer service, as you indicated, will be at 137 Frank Street.
Thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
I can appreciate that answer. All those things were brought to the attention at the time when this was closed in. We made those exact statements. I believe actually the deputy mayor said numerous times, we can do this, we can do this, we should not be sealing it in due to fire reasons, due to this, due to that. There was numerous reasons for not sealing them in. We still paid upwards of, I think it was $100,000 to seal it in, was what this cost us. Now we're gonna pay $50,000 to remove it. And again, the reason they were put there is to make sure that you were secure and safe. So that's my question is, why would we be removing this if we haven't figured out how to keep you secure and safe? Again, it feels like we're maybe the cart before the horse, especially considering we haven't even decided whether customer service is actually moving down to 137 Frank.
Deputy Mayor.
If I may, Councillor, I have a couple of comments to make in regards to that. Of course, I brought a motion early on in our administration to open up this building again and get the front doors unlocked. And at that time, I spoke about how dangerous this place is from a employee standpoint. Everybody was focused on somebody walking in the building with a gun and doing something horrific, and I'm not even going to discuss that. The reality is, and I say this from my past employment, you know, working behind closed doors and out of the sight of your fellow co-workers is a very dangerous position you put people in, because there's lots of reports out there that'll say the most dangerous person to you is your co-worker, and we have all types of co-workers that are making, sorry, I have a lumbar support behind me, you know, inappropriate comments in the workplace, inappropriate situations in the workplace. The doctor down in Windsor, for instance, that ended up killing the nurse who he had been courting for quite some time. People should not be working behind closed walls and doors without windows. It's unsafe. So the value in making a safe work environment for whoever is left in this building is important, and a big step in that is getting it open so that if the CAO is walking down the main hallway, he can see where everybody is and what's going on, and that's important. And or it could be the most junior person in the building walking down that sees the CAO in trouble in his office, for instance. So that's the importance of getting this place opened up. So I'm full support of this concept. I'll just leave it there. It needs to get open for the safety of a work environment.
Yeah, Councillor Palmer.
So if you could just clarify, there is not a lot of details in the report about what is going to happen, but Councillor Derbyshire's comments, if I understood them correctly, indicate that his understanding is that we're going to reverse what we did. Is that a case, or are we doing something different? So we took action to open up the building and make it safe, as the deputy mayor said, from particularly the public, so that staff were safe from public and public that may at times come in or may be in a volatile situation. But what you're talking about now is about creating a safe and collaborative work environment for the staff. So Is what you're going to do different, or are we just undoing what was done?
So through the chair to Councillor Palmer, the intent at this moment is to open spaces up into those areas. Whether, we haven't decided whether we're gonna open everything back up again, or if we're gonna open up windows where we can put frames and glass in. The initial intent at this point is to open up the space. If we find, and the reason I'm saying open up the window, is if we find that that isn't sufficient, that we can always go and put a frame and glass in, if that's a concern later on, right? To open up the 3 windows that we're talking about, because the window over here is still open, there's only 3 windows that are closed. That will be done by internal staff. There's going to be a number of doors, I want to say there's 7 or 9 current wooden doors that are going to have glass panels put in them. Specifically across the hall is a good indication in human resources, where if the director of human resources closes his door and he's having a meeting with another staff, no one knows what's going on in that space. So the initial intent is to open it up without glass, but if we find that that's not sufficient, then we would add frame and window. So that's the plan we were proceeding with.
Thank you. Did you have one more there, Councillor?
I guess it just sounds to me like we use safety to close them in, and now we're using safety to open them up. And the cost is being borne by the taxpayer, which at the time, it was clearly stated, don't close these in. Cover them up, lock them up, whatever you want to do, don't close the windows in. The point was made by the deputy mayor at the time. You should be able to see your employees. They should be able to see you. If we're not locking the front doors up, then you're still, the original statement that got these all closed in still applies. So, to me, we're gonna spend $50,000 now, and if that doesn't work, do we spend $100 again to close them back in, or? It just seems to me like we are, I don't want to say wasting money, but we closed them all in, now we're going to open them all up. And if 137 Frank doesn't become customer service, right? Say customer service needs to stay here, or has to stay here, or does stay here. Then what? Are we closing it all back in again? I can't figure it out. We're using safety both ways.
Councillor Pelton.
Yes, thank you. I guess I'm going to revisit a few years ago and think about what the staff were facing from the public. The viciousness and the anger that was a result of COVID, that was looking for anybody at authority to let loose, was creating a difficult environment for everyone. And we tried as best we could to make sure that people had pointed access to the people they needed to see, and not just a free-for-all. And if we're moving the customer service down to 137 Frank, that will remove a significant number of people coming in the building, but also I think the general demeanor of the public has lessened to a certain degree.
Yep. Councillor Wilsey.
I guess the part that I didn't like that we were doing work that we previously did, but I guess the part that bothered me the most about this is in our discussion tonight. The director said, sitting up there with you, said we don't know what we're doing yet. We don't know if we're opening it. We don't know if we're putting windows in. We don't have a clear scope. So I guess without having a clear scope or knowing what we're doing, what are we actually approving except saying to staff, here's $50,000, go do what you want to do? That sounds like what the ask is, because we don't know. Like, there were some examples of doors and windows. But we also said, well, we don't know if that's going to be enough. We might have to do more. We don't know where we're going to do. We don't know where we're going to stop. And those were all the director's words. So I guess the question is, what are we improving? Is there a report that's listing what we're trying to change, things we're wanting to do? Or are we just giving it and staff's giving it all to internal resources and we're not tendering it or anything, so it's sole source to whoever staff decides, which is in the director's purview. But we're doing it without a tender, without plans. We're just going ahead and saying, here's money, open it up however you want.
You want to comment on that?
Through the chair. That's not exactly, that may be what you heard, that's not what I meant. So we have a plan to open up the windows. If those plans, if staff feel that they are unsafe, we have the ability to put a frame in with a window. We will not be spending $50,000 to open up 3 spaces. We will not be spending $50,000 to open up 3 spaces and add glass in 7 or 9 doors. That $50,000, which was approved in the capital budget for this work to occur, allows us that ability. So we don't want to go out and spend $50,000 and put frames and glass in with special sliding glass. What we want to do is be prudent with the taxpayers' money with regards to these openings. So we're going to open the doors, the space up. If we find that it's not acceptable, then we will, by all means, revisit it and look at putting frames in. That doesn't mean that we're going out and spending the $50,000 right off the top. We're looking to be fiscally responsible with that $50,000. And we will do it with our own forces because we have the skills within our own forces to do that. So the cost will be a little bit of drywall and maybe some electrical initially with regards to the walls when we're opening up those windows. But as for the glass in the doors, again, we'll be done with our own forces.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, then we're going to move on, Councillor.
You can. I just have, my statement about this all is, you asked us to enclose it all before for your safety. We didn't say, let's see how it goes. Councillor Pelpin is saying that basically we were a bunch of wild animals through COVID and you had to be really careful. And that atmosphere is gone now. But this place is still going to be open. So if it's still open to the public, then let's go back to the previous report that got all this put in. Tell me what's different. How does it change? Like when we asked you back then, hey, let's open it up and see what happens. It was, nope, it's unsafe, boarded up, we have to be locked away. What has changed from then till now? The doors are still going to be open. The place is still going to be here.
Thank you. Councillor Brandon.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would be more comfortable approving the $50,000 expenditure if we could see a plan that demonstrates how the sight lines in the affected areas would be improved, and then we could then vote the $50,000 if we so chose, based upon a plan that demonstrates that the sight lines have been improved and that there is a mitigation of danger. So I would just ask that perhaps we defer this for tonight and we pick it up again when we get a report in front of us that demonstrates the sight lines and how we are going to have a safer environment.
Yep.
Thank you.
Just one comment, just you used the word approved. We'd already approved it.
Well, we've approved the money.
We approved the money.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
But before the money is spent, I think it would be great to have a plan come before us that demonstrates that the visibility, the sight lines are improved. I'd rather approve a plan that demonstrates that before the money is spent than to have the money spent and find out that something has happened which I don't support.
Okay.
We'll second it.
You have a seconder for that? Seconder, okay. Yeah.
If it's a motion, I'll second.
So I just want to.
Yeah, we have a second and motion on the floor.
That's fine. I'm speaking to that motion.
Okay, thank you.
Your motion is to defer. But then you want a staff report. So that's a motion to refer. You're referring it back to staff for a report. So I would ask for a friendly amendment that you make it for a referral back to staff for a report, because in fact that's what you had spoken about. It's just a procedural matter and you don't meet with the procedures.
I had been just stating my ideas. I wasn't actually making a formal motion when I spoke, but it was then suggested after the fact that I make a motion, which I have not yet made.
Okay.
Okay, so
So I would take that language that we just refer this back to staff to have a report come to us that with some visuals that demonstrate and convince us that the sight lines will be improved and there will be a mitigation of danger to staff. And once we see the plan, we can approve the plan. We've already approved the money. That'd be essentially what I'm moving.
Thank you.
So is that a seconded motion now?
Yeah, I think Councilor Boucher.
Okay, now can I speak to that?
You
motion?
may, yes, you
Okay,
may.
great, thank you. I think that's a wonderful idea. I personally will just put out there that I am in disagreement with any office being closed away from the eyes of other staff. You should never be in an office that is totally closed away. Of course, there's the exception of bathrooms and change rooms and those personal spaces. I don't want somebody coming back to me about that. But I think, because you're talking about, maybe doors, maybe not, I think that all doors to offices must have glass in them. That makes it safe for our staff. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, comment, then we're gonna bring it to a vote.
If I could just get some clarity, because we had already started moving forward with putting glass in the doors, because this was an approved budget item. I can cancel that order and we can leave it the way it is. But based off an approved project, we had already started proceeding with that work. So if you want us to cancel all of that, we can do that. So.
Yep. Was the motion, go ahead, Councilor Brennan. Then I'll get back to you, Councilor.
I don't know if I'm going to accept the fact that we can't just hit the pause button for 2 weeks and have a plan come back that demonstrates what is proposed so that council can then see that the money is being spent in a manner that we support. I know the project was approved, the money was approved, the spending was approved, but I think people just want to see what it is we're approving. And if it's possible just to postpone an order for 2 weeks so that something can come back that we see something is demonstrated. Because what I hear being said is that we don't really know what's going to happen. And I think I think council just needs to be assured and something needs to be demonstrated so that we can then say, okay, yes, that's a plan that we support. The money's there, we just haven't seen what the plan is. And I don't think it's asking too much to see a plan before money is spent. And in terms of suppliers, I'm sure that if there's money on the table and they have an order from us, we can make a phone call and say, look, we got a 2-week hiccup. Can we just put it on pause for the moment and see what happens? I don't know. But I think it's reasonable for a council to see what the plan is before the money is spent.
Okay, thank you. Let's bring that to a vote. They have a second motion. All in favor of the motion? Opposed, if any? Motion carries. We need...
So I did have
oh, sorry.
something in that, but that's so fine. The vote can go through. I would like to ask a question, and I don't know who can answer this, whether we should answer this now or possibly maybe this is a thing for another meeting. We've run into this now a few times where we have approved a budget which has items on it, but yet we have not approved those items as council. We've only approved the money for them. Now, this is twice we've run into this. Just at some point, we probably need clarification on this from somebody as to how this is happening and why it's happening.
Yeah.
And you don't, like I say, I don't.
No, I was gonna...
through the chair to councilor, thank you. Because staff are looking for the same clarity. Because I'll use a perfect example. We have a $250,000 budget line for a washroom renovation at Yorkview Community Park to convert a 2-stall washroom into a fully AODA compliant family washroom and a standard washroom. Do I need to bring back the construction drawings, the floor plan of that project to get approval to move forward? Because right now, all you're telling me, what I'm hearing is that we can't move forward in any approved project unless you see the final plan. So staff needs some direction, because typically what we've done in the past is a project gets approved, staff move on with the project. And you know, the washrooms is a perfect example that I just used. There's a number of projects that we would have to bring back on everything from $20,000 up to $250,000. So that will slow this whole process this down. So just staff are looking for
Let's not get into debate on this.
No, I'm not going to. I'm going to make a suggestion.
Yes.
That this be sent to as soon as possible to a strategic priorities meeting for a full discussion.
Okay, thank you. Finally, we do have the other 6 items to receive for information. Motion to receive them for information. Deputy Mayor, and Councillor Kenneth, all in favor? Motion carries. Now go on to notice as a motion. Councillor Pelkman, you are up.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So recently, the Knights of Columbus put forward a plan to build a 3-story addition to their facility on Oak Street. And in the course of that, I had numerous discussions with residents in the area, some of which whom I work with, so I trust their opinions. And out of that discussion, which has nothing to do with the addition to the Knights of Columbus building, but the traffic patterns on Oak Street and Spence. So 2 things have happened in the fairly recent past. Ridge Street was opened up in the expansion of Ridge Street through to Spence, or to park in that, I guess, that 1 block stretch. So that whole subdivision now can if they're headed to Canadian Tire or Walmart or Giant Tiger, will head down that way rather than make their way up to Metcalfe and head down that way. The other thing that happened was that we restricted parking to one side of Oak Street. And so previously there were cars parked on both sides, which had the natural reaction of slowing traffic down because the street appeared to be more crowded. So what the residents are telling me is that there's a significantly more traffic now, and the traffic is moving faster. And even at that public meeting, our crossing guard was at present because she herself is very nervous about walking the kids across the street there because of the increased speed. And I see those as very natural things. I have no reason to question the residents to say that that's not happening. So I did have a short discussion with Walter. And Walter, maybe if you could just go over what we discussed.
Yeah, through the chair to council, me and Councillor Pelkman did discuss this motion. Once it came in there last Monday, I believe I saw it on the agenda. I looked at traffic counts from 2025. We have a summer student every year collect those. And that section of Spence and Oak, it does meet the threshold in the OTM manual for a 3-way stop. So we are good to pursue it that way if council wishes. The second part of the motion about the speed humps, I did talk to Councillor Pelkman as well about this. We have a traffic calming policy in the transportation master plan that we follow. It's a 2-step process, with the first step being a desktop review to make sure it's paved road, 50 kilometers an hour or less, residential neighborhood, 300 meters in length, etc. Once it passes that, then we start the data collection piece, which is setting up the speed radar signs. And then it's a point system of how many points that section gains, ups the, I guess, what you need for traffic calming, so speed humps or items like that, or you just do an education campaign to residents in the neighborhood. So that's kind of the background information on that, these 2 motions that we've looked into, and I'll leave it at that for council to decide.
And one thing that Walter did leave out is the traffic count between is 700 cars higher than the other piece. So that means there are 700 cars turning at that intersection a day.
I just wanted, you brought the motion. Did we have a seconder for your motion? Oh, Councillor, we should get somebody to second it. Councillor Derbyshire second the motion. There we go. Now we can open
So the motion is to put a three-way stop to be installed at the corner of Oak Street and Spence, and that to be done as soon as possible. And that I guess I will slightly reword it if to meet what our traffic calming policy is to look at traffic patterns on Oak, Spence, Pearson, and Park to see if traffic calming measures are required.
Thank you. Any questions of the council? Deputy Mayor.
Yeah, thank you. The three-way stop, 100% in agreement with that. Speed bumps, I would not be in favor of speed bumps in the vicinity of the three-way stop. I frequently watch people up on Darcy and Thorne where we put the speed bumps away from the four-way at Thorne, Stephen, and Head Street. A lot of people will try to dodge around those or at least get two wheels in between the speed bumps, which is why I'm not in favor of having that type of stuff near a stop sign. Last thing I want to do is have somebody weaving around a speed bump 20 feet from a stop sign. There might be some other common markers or, I don't know if like the rumble strips that you cut into the pavement, I don't know if that's consideration, but there's other things to do. I'd like to do the three-way stop. I would then like to see that monitored by staff, particularly from the time it goes up until school gets out. Hopefully we can gather a little bit of data so that we can determine whether or not we need to use a flashing light system there to help all pedestrians safely traverse from a sidewalk on, you gotta get my right, street, Spence over to the east side of Oak Street where they would go to school. And then maybe that could come back to us, after we get that data and staff can make a recommendation at that time, like this would either be a good idea before school starts and try to get something done, or however quickly that can happen. I'm not really sure, but I'd like to see that put in place. I'd like to see that in a few more areas, particularly down Mount Bridges and other areas that have some higher speeds that we're battling.
Any other comments on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor of the two motions in front of you? Opposed, if any? Motion's carried. Deputy Mayor, I think my motion's up next, so you should take the chair here.
Oh. Okay, you're up, Your Worship.
Thank you. I'm going to bring my motion with addition with 4 words added to the very front. So the motion is that pursuant to county approval, the sum of $12,750 plus HST be allocated from the pedestrian crossover fund. There's $50,000 in total. For the installation of overhead flashing beacons, this is a retrofit of the current overhead arm. So before I comment, I'm the seconder.
I'll second that.
So we installed this, the request of the citizens 2.5 years ago. We've tried the normal flashing beacons. There are problems. At times people do run it. We've had police down there. We have crossing guards, as we've heard. Some near misses. Thank God nothing has happened. But the arms are over top. Simply have to retrofit them. But the reason for the words pursuant to county approval, it is deemed to be county property. We have to pay for it even though it's their property. So I think it's a prudent thing to do. We need to try everything. There'll be other measures that we're going to try. But citizens have asked for this numerous times. And why can't we do it? So that's my motion.
Councillor Cameron.
So Are you talking about changing it to a crossover where you push the button and the lights flash and everybody has to stop?
There is one there now. There's one there now,
Okay,
but just like on Head Street, it's just the, what do they call them, RAFs. At that time, all the county would allow would be the ones at eye level. Since then, we found you can retrofit the overhead to have flashing lights there also.
So it is an official crosswalk where
Yes, it
lights
is,
are
yep.
flashing, you can't cross
Yep,
under the traffic act, right? Okay.
yep.
Councillor Derbyshire.
Thank you, I 100% agree. I think I was the one that said the lights should have been over it from the start, and we were actually told we couldn't do that. So now that I guess we can do that, 100% agree, because nobody looks over to this way. You're always watching your lane, which is where your light should be. So I 100% agree, as long as they were allowed to do it, and it's not the same reason we couldn't before.
I have just one moment. I have a question over to the acting director. Are they still using pedestrian crossovers and pedestrian crosswalks, identifying overhead stuff as opposed to stuff only on the side of the road? Or are you familiar with the terms under the OTMs or the HTA?
Through the chair to the chair. So if I'm understanding correctly, there's 4 types in the Ontario Traffic Manual, A, B, C, D. D is the lowest, which is just signs and paint, similar to what you've seen on Metcalf near the arena. B and C are the flashing lights on the side, as we're talking about here, and that's what's on Glendon at the moment. And then there's type A, which does have the lights over the top, and that's all determined by pedestrian and traffic volume. So Middlesex County does have a crosswalk policy in place where they do the evaluations and they recommend what should be put, and that's what Glendon has in place at the moment, is what the county's pedestrian and traffic volume warrants in that area. So based on when we installed it.
Councillor Wilsey had a question, and then I'll come back to his worship.
I had a two-part question. I was going to ask if the county would allow us to do that, or if it's only going to be strictly dependent on traffic volumes. And the other follow-up question is that if the county will allow us to do that, I hear from most residents that all of the crosswalks that only have the lights on the sidewalk, everyone wants the overhead things. So I think if we're going to do this, we should, if they will allow us to do it, I think we should make a policy and budget for it to upgrade all of them. Everybody wants their lights on the top. We're trying to keep everybody safe. It's only $12,000 for the existing crosswalks. I don't think there's more than a handful of them. There's maybe 10 in the municipality. There's not that much money to upgrade that and make people feel safe.
Good point. Your worship.
Councillor Wilsey, and you'll see my head nodding vigorously, and to concur with Councillor Derbyshire, the greatest frustration in this is that we need the county approval to do this. So to answer Councillor Derbyshire's original question, we all agree we needed the overhead flashing lights at the time, but it's a negotiation with the county engineer to get it done. So at that time, he would only agree to the side beacons, if you will, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. You think of Mount Bridges, the one on Adelaide and Bowen, there's one there. That should have overhead lights, but the greatest frustration is we pay for it. There are citizens we're trying to keep safe. They're everybody's citizen, but yet we need to go to the county and ask for permission to get it done. So at the county, that's where we need to change the policy.
So can I ask your worship, have you spoke to the director of transportation or engineering, Chris Straney, at the county to determine whether or not we have to engage with him on this, or has he given his blessing?
That's where the 4 words pursuant to county approval came from my conversation.
Oh, okay.
So it will actually, according to him, come in front of county council for ratification. So it's greatly frustrating.
So you can be very cognizant that the mayor and I will be pushing that hard at county council. I don't think it'll be a hard push. But. Other questions? There was another question. I saw a hand come up. Did anybody else want to make comment? If not, all to a vote. All in favor? Motion carries. Thank you.
First up is our reports from departments, financial services, the tax reduction for, what is it, 21321 Wilson Street in Delaware. Motion to approve the tax reduction first. Councillor Kennis, second by Councillor Hippel. Are there any questions for the Director of Finance? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion. Motion carries. The updated purchasing and procurement policy, motion to approve it first. Councillor Pelkman, second by Councillor Kennis. Any questions for Mr. White? Seeing none, all in favor of the seconded motion. Motion carried. Building and planning is the signed bylaw, the final. This motion is that the bylaw be referred to the consideration of bylaws section of the agenda for consideration and approval. Someone to bring a motion. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Kennis. Are there any questions? Councillor Wilsey.
How do gas stations comply with the digital sign bylaw? According to the bylaw, the lights have to be shut off at dusk to dawn. So gas stations and it says it doesn't apply in the downtown core of Strathroy. So our gas stations, the Canadian Tire, the Petro-Canada that's outside, the ones in Mount Bridges, they all have to shut their signs off as soon as the sun goes down. So how do we advertise gas pricing and still keep it compliant with this? Or even if you go into London, all the new Canadian Tires, they have digital billboards that are on the outside of their building. Are they going to have to shut them off as soon as it's dark? I think we need a little bit more thought into this. This part of the bylaw.
Who can answer? Oh, here comes Chief Building Official.
Good evening, Your Worship, through you. So right now, any of the existing ones would fall under legal non-complying, so they would allow to exist and operate as they would. Anything new, we would have to address, and they may have to come to council, ask for permission.
Go ahead, Greg.
So I guess we're putting in a sign knowing that we're going to get, because every sign going forward, like we're not getting less digital signs. And every digital sign that goes up has to be turned off at dusk. I don't know, if that's what we want to do, I guess that's what we want to do.
Any other questions or comments? Go with Councillor Pammer, then Councillor Pelkman.
So just following up on Councillor Wilsey's comments, so any digital sign has to go off at dusk regardless of the location, is that correct?
No.
No, sorry.
Sorry, Council, through you.
Yeah.
If it's in the downtown core, they're allowed to have a digital sign. It can go all night. It's not restricted, but that's by the zoning, what defines our downtown core between Mount Bridges and Strathroy.
And so is the downtown core the BIA area, or is it bigger than that?
I personally don't know.
What is the downtown core?
Based on the zoning bylaw, it's much larger than Frankenfront. I don't have the specific parameters, but it's not just Frankenfront.
Mr. Councillor Pelkman.
Yes, thank you. As we all know, it's election year coming up. And there is a section here dealing with election signs. I just want to question one line where it says it shall not be located on municipal property of any type, but not limited to fire halls, administrative buildings, arenas, parks, and community centers. However, the boulevards are technically municipal property. So I just want to clarify, does that mean nobody can put signs in boulevards, or are we just not being able to affix signs to what would be considered the property lines of an identifiable piece of property?
I think Ben's looking for it.
Sorry, yeah.
The definition. So the definition of municipality would involve that currently, the way it stipulates in the bylaw. So technically, that would be the case. The wording, the way we have it worded currently, that would be the case. But understanding that this has all happened in the past.
Which way is the case? That it's restricted to the property lines of the property or the municipal boulevards?
Hold on one second. So stipulates, means the municipality of Strathroy-Caradoc or its geographic area over which that municipality has territorial jurisdiction, as the case may be. So it doesn't stipulate anything. It doesn't say lands on Parks and Rec or Boulevard. Stipulates owned by the municipality.
So just a follow-up question, all those examples that are listed have identifiable property lines, do they not?
Yes.
So maybe we should just change that wording slightly, because you know what the practice is going to be, and then we're going to have virtually every candidate breaking the sign bylaw. To me, it should read that shall not be located within the property lines of identifiable municipal property assets.
Okay. Did you want to make an amendment to that, Councillor, or make that?
Yes, please.
I would second that.
The seconder for that amendment. Did you get that?
Not fully, can you repeat that for me?
Right. Shall not be located on municipal property that is defined as within the identifiable property lines of municipal assets.
Okay. We have a second motion. All in favor of that motion? Opposed, if any? Motion carries. Do you have a question, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, well, a comment. I'd like to go back to Councillor Wilsey's comments about digital signs, because I think this is going to be hugely problematic. And I'm not sure how we get around it.
Can I make a suggestion, if I may, Deputy?
Yeah.
I was wondering, I was going to ask if it was possible to approve the sign bylaw, or remove the section referred.
Section 15.
Remove that section until we get a further report, because the sign law, I agree with Councillor Wilsey, that's going to be problematic. The sign bylaw has been out there for 2 years, real estate, we're trying to find a way, can we remove just that section and have it come back for further discussion?
Well, I think what I'll do is motion to remove section 15, digital signs, in its entirety. Should a future council want to do, that's my motion, remove it. And then, like, should a future council find there's a problem, they'll deal with the problem, they can amend the bylaw.
I'll second it. Sorry, did you want to second it, Greg?
I'll second that one.
You'll second it. Were there any other comments or questions? All in favor of that motion? Okay. Now, were there any other questions of the bylaw as it stands? If not, Councillor Pelkman.
Sorry, just wanted to be on record as I opposed that one.
Okay. Councillor Derbyshire.
I'm just wondering where it talks about signs on trees, utility poles, and all this, the enforcement of that. How are we even going about that? Like, that could be a full-time job if you want to come out to the country. They staple stuff on trees and poles regularly at great heights, so you're gonna need a bucket truck to get them down.
Yeah.
So I just, like I realize it's in there, but what are we setting ourselves up for here?
Chief Building Officer. Or Cody.
You're gonna refer to Cody.
I'll step back. Thank you. So, through the chair, to Derbyshire there. We actually already have that in our right-of-way bylaw. So that's already been approved by council. So all of the trees, light poles, and anything on the right-of-way is already in our right-of-way bylaw.
Are we gonna remove him? He's asking Cody.
Hopefully speak to the public and have an understanding.
I think Mr. Littleborn had a comment.
So, through the chair, just to add on that, our bylaw is complaint driven. So we're not actively driving around making lists of signs that are on trees or on the poles. If you were driving down the road and you saw, a sign that had, 30 stapled plastic signs to it, and you really didn't like how that looked, you could contact bylaw, and then that would be a complaint driven. based on the data that I've seen coming out of the bylaw, we don't get, haven't seen one in my tenure with regards to bylaw, but.
Well, then just so I'm clear on that, then if people want to staple signs on their own trees, they can do that. This is just municipal trees, so anything on the roadway, otherwise you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, your tree.
So just for clarification then, if I string them up in a tree, I can put a sign up. Like we're doing all this to control signs, but yet if I'm going to do it my way, I'd put a big sign on a tree and be like, there you go. I'm not trying to, I just want to demonstrate exactly where some of this could end up or head to when we try to control. And I realize where it started and where this stemmed from. So to try to do it to the whole municipality is rather difficult.
One more and then we'll have the vote.
I would suggest in that case, Councillor Derbyshire, if that became a real issue for the municipality, staff would come back to council looking for an amendment to this bylaw to include that specific item. We've tried to cover as much as we can. There will always be the potential for loopholes.
Okay, let's bring it to a vote.
Mayor?
Go ahead.
Mayor, may I speak to that, please?
You may.
Sorry, if you look at 3.6, sentence 3, we already talk a sign attached to a tree, traffic signal, car, utility pole. I'd have to read the definition, but I don't know if it specifically says municipal property or any tree.
Well, that's where I originally pulled it from, and then it said the roadway, so that's where my brain went, oh well.
Councillor Wilsey, then I want to bring this to a vote.
So my question is more with the being complaint driven and with the real estate signs, and we get the complaint of like all these pointer signs at the intersections, and I get that. Nobody wants 25 pointer signs on a corner. The bylaw states that there's a fine for everyone that's up there. So does we make one call to bylaw and then we go out and we issue 20 fines? Or because even the process of issuing the fine and finding the person and sending a letter, we don't make money on a $300 fine. It costs everybody and the taxpayer money to get those removed. Even if the person pays $300, by the time we use all the staff resources to find the person, send the invoice, make sure they pay, process the payment, we're not any farther ahead. So I just want to make sure that if everything's complaint driven, is this actually going to fix anything, or is it just going to be something that's going to drive more staff work and not actually fix the problem?
I would say we would deal with them. We'd probably just remove them. It's the fastest, easiest way to get rid of those pointer signs because they're not allowed. If it's a repeat offender who's doing it multiple times, then we'd look at going to the next step. And that's when we would invest more time and money into finding them, tracking them down. But if it's a one-time, first-time thing, we're just going to pick them up, call them and say, hey, you can't do that anymore. Here are your signs back.
All right, let's bring this to a vote. I asked the clerk, we amended it. Do I need to amend the bylaw to say as amended? Motion?
Yes, or the bylaw can come back to a subsequent meeting.
No, because we want to get the sign. So bylaw number 3126, as amended, be referred to the consideration of bylaws section of the agenda for consideration and approval. Someone to bring a motion. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Kennis. All in favor? Motion carries. Community improvement application. This is for 62 Ridge Street in Strathroy. Motion to approve Melissa Bolton's application for funding through the additional unit program in the maximum amount of $14,222.92. I'll bring a motion. Councillor Kennis, second. Were there any questions or concerns? Councillor Pelkman.
Just more of a comment because she's perfectly entitled to do this, but this was one of the streets that I was worried about having additional dwelling units put on it because of the sheer volume of cars that are already on the street, and it just so happens that her house is on the side of the sidewalk, which means you're only getting 2 cars in front of the driveway. So hopefully we don't get too many more of these on this street, but she's perfectly entitled to do it, and I'm glad that she's at least doing it properly and going through the process to make sure that there's all the building code requirements are met.
Seeing no further questions, all in favor of the motion? Opposed, if any, motion carries. Condominium agreement at 610 Head Street. Motion is the council enter into a condominium agreement with Foxwood Developments regarding the condominium development. And further, the bylaw be referred to the consideration of bylaws section of the agenda for approval. Bring a motion. Councillor Pelkman, second by Councillor Pammer. Were there any questions or concerns? Councillor Pelkman.
Does that mean we can expect to see movement on that property shortly?
Well, if Mr. Williams can answer that. Waiting with bated breath, that is.
We certainly hope so.
Any other questions? Seeing none. Oh, Councillor Kennis, I apologize.
Well, just on that, I mean, it's great if they start building condos, but there's still that mountain at the, in the middle of the property, right? It's gonna grow a bunch of weeds soon again too, right? So hopefully something will be done about that pile of dirt too, so.
Other questions? All in favor of the motions? Opposed, if any, motion carries. Application for planned condominium exemption for Buchanan Crossing subdivision at 234 McTavish Street. Motion is that council pass a resolution in support of the requested exemption from the condominium approval process as set out in 9.6 and 9.10 of the Condominium Act, and that the clerk forward the resolution to Middlesex County Council for consideration of the exemption request. Someone to bring a motion. Councillor Kennis, need a seconder. Councillor Pammer, any questions for Mr. Williams? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor of the motion? Opposed of any? That carries. The pool lending pass, motion that council approve the pool lending pass program. Motion by Councillor Pammer, second by Councillor Hippel. Are there any questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Motion carries. Now we're going to move into the 2025 year in review on the museum. Is there anyone to make the presentation? I don't think so.
Doesn't look like it.
Okay. Okay. So the motion is the council approve the attached report, the 2025 year in review as recommended by the Museum Advisory Committee. Someone to bring a motion. Councillor Derbyshire, second by Councillor Kennis. All in favor? Motion carries. 137 Frank Street, Municipal Service and Community Center. There is a motion in front of you to approve this. Is there any other comments? Deputy Mayor.
So 137 Frank Street, there was discussion, of course, of strategic priorities. I asked for it to come back to council so that, first of all, council can approve some of the things that are going on down there. So lots happening, lots of great ideas. What I'm looking for is a motion.
Deputy Mayor, as we take a pause.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Because we can now get.
That's good, because I needed some time to finish.
You need some
my
time. We would
thought
love to see the museum presentation, so.
No notes. Sorry, it's just tonight and my volunteer did show, so I just packed up all the kids.
Take your time. We have all nothing but time. You worked very hard on the presentation, so we'll bring it up and we'll let you then.
Do you need a glass of water?
I'll figure it out.
Why don't we finish this and we come back to it, we give her a
Okay, there you go. That's a better idea. Yeah. You look like you're in a big hurry, so.
We're still going to be here.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere for a while. When you're ready, you let us know. Deputy Mayor, have you composed your thoughts?
Not really, but we'll wing it.
Well, wing it.
I made a motion, seconded by Councillor Pammer, a number of months ago to move forward with option 4 that was presented to council. which was the reimagined 137 Frank Street, and then there was comments on the bottom of that if we approved or if we adopted 4, which we did, that staff would come back with some more information for us. And so that happened, in my opinion, at strategic priorities. What I am motioning this evening to get the discussion going is that council approve the concept of relocating customer service to 137 Frank Street. I have some of this written down that I can hand out to you afterwards, make it easy. That council approve the plan identified as phase 1 on the report presented to council as strategic priorities April 13, 2026. So that's the motion. So just as you remember, phase 1 was kind of that front foyer idea with customer service desks that they called it the hot office. I think there was some bathroom changes, all that front end of the original PUC building. And further, that staff bring back to council a report outlining all building deficiencies outlined in past 137 Frank Street reports, engineering reports, and that they include solutions to address any deficiencies that may be there. So on that matter, I understand from a little bit of research that there are a number of past reports that have come in over probably the last decade about 137 Frank Street, which ultimately led to the decision of it being made surplus. We've overturned that. But there were some deficiencies addressed in there, and I have not even going to speculate as to what they are. I didn't actually find the reports myself, but I'd like somebody to find those reports. We need to know what that is before we start doing too much investment into the building, especially in phase 2 and phase 3. And before we move any staff down there, we have to make sure we put check marks in those boxes. So I'd like to see that done. I think that's it, but we'll see where the discussion goes if I have any other additions. So there's 3 motions. Approve the moving of customer service to 137 Frank. Approve the phase 1 that we saw last week at strategic priorities. And have staff bring a report back to us about all of the past reports, that engineering reports on the building, and what the deficiencies may be and how those are being addressed. And that staff bring a report that addresses how the exterior of the building will be addressed. That was part of the original motion where we put the $500,000, is that it was for exterior renovations and to make that building watertight, basically. That's where we were stepping off with the first $500,000 that council approved for the building. So I'd like to see what are we doing with that to make that building watertight, and is there a reimagination of that 1970s building to bring it up to current, something more modern looking, and see what staff say about that.
I didn't preempt this, so I'll second that motion, because as you know, Deputy Mayor, we saw that with the MLPS building you referred to.
That's what I did, yes.
They totally reimagined the outside of the building, so I'll second those motions to move this forward. Any questions or comments? Councillor Hippel.
Thank you. I was not at your strategic priority meeting, unfortunately. However, our building here, as beautiful and as historical as it is, we are outgrowing this, and this makes complete and total sense. And to be able to give the public the most efficient and effective space to be able to talk and to be able to talk to our staff, to be able to get answers from our community, from our frontline workers. Like, I think this is really key. The parking is fantastic down there. It's walkable. It's one story. It just makes sense, and we're just growing. Everything that's transpiring within our municipality, it just seems to make sense for our staff and definitely for the community members and our business members. So I think this is a great thing moving forward. That's all I wanted to say.
Any other comments, Councillor Pelkman?
Yes, I just, since we're using the motion that Mike handed over to the clerk, in his first statement, he used the word concept, but it was not in his verbal motion. So I could agree with it without the word concept, because I think we are moving customer service down there. It's not the concept of moving customer service down there.
We can remove the word concept, yes. We approve moving customer service.
I would also ask for a friendly amendment because we had just passed a motion to declare the property beside Denning's surplus, and we were in the process of making that back room storage space so that we include that space to convert it into storage so that we can move ahead and empty the building over there.
Yeah, I guess that wasn't included in phase one, but yes, so on the second part of it, that we approve our maintenance staff.
Just include the workshop space and the
for the
rear end of the building for storage, for municipal storage.
Perfect. I accept that.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, you're pointing at the microphone. I'm laying back, stretching my back.
Okay.
Yes, I agree with that.
Was your hand up, Councillor Palmer?
Yeah. I'm just concerned about the latter part of the deputy mayor's motion. I feel like we've said, yeah, we're going to move customer service down there. We're moving ahead. We saw the plan at strategic priorities, but then you say, but then I want you to bring me a list. So I'm, are we have right here that we've approved the capital budget of $500,000 for the exterior work and $500,000 for the interior rehabilitation. We're back to this point again where we're telling staff, here's the budget, go do the work. They brought us to strategic priorities. We like the work, but now you're saying, well, wait a minute, I want to get a list of all the problems in the building before we do anything. So if I were staff, I'd be really confused right now about whether we're going or stopping. And I don't know, I'll ask the director, do you have clarity? Because I would like to see this move forward. We've all indicated we want to move forward, and now I'm concerned that we're now tying staff's hands again.
I want to speak to that.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I mean, this goes down to the question that Rob and Councillor Derbyshire were talking about before. We approved $500,000 for exterior work. So that's a concept. We put $500,000 in a bank account to use towards exterior work, but they have to come back and tell us what the exterior work is. We also put $500,000 in a bank account for interior rehabilitation. It's all concept until tonight when we're saying move ahead with phase one. This is the difference between budgeting something and approving a plan. And in my opinion, it can happen in two ways. We can approve a project and then put the money behind it. Now we have both things happening. Or we're in budget negotiations and we decide we want to put money over here because we have something going on, which we've done at 137 Frank Street, but we still have to develop the project and approve it. So we have some money set aside, we want to do something, we're not quite sure what it is, and staff are doing things. What I'm saying is, all of this goes ahead, but there are past engineering reports on the building, I'm told, and we just want to make sure, before we drop $1 million into this building and move staff in there, that those engineering reports, somebody's put eyes on it, council's looked at it and said, okay, yeah, you have a solution to the leaking roof at the back end of the property that we had been told about before. So there's the solution. We haven't received all of that. There's talk about it from historically, so let's just have them put eyes on it. And actually, I already spoke to Director Littleborn there. I think he's got most of that work already done, and he can explain to us what the old engineering reports are, what they said, and how things are being mitigated so that those are no longer issues. Those are our financial obligations, and that's our fiduciary duty moving forward on projects.
Any other comments or questions? Councillor Derbyshire, then Councillor Wilsey.
Thank you. So I'm going to take a different approach to it. I realize the building needs to be fixed. It's a great asset. I understand that. When we talk about centralized customer service, we already have that here. We put that in the basement. We've shown that works. Right? So that's what we're talking about. Now, Councillor Hipple says we're out of space. 100% agree. Now, by moving customer service down there, will that improve the service, the accessibility, and the accountability? How do we know that? We already have central service here. We know that works, so central service will work. We're being told that if we move it down there, it'll all work out and everything will be okay. So we're not moving all staff. We're just moving customer service. Right? We're not moving.
There's clarity on it. There's some staff movement, but I'm going to let you continue there.
Okay, so communications is going down there. But if we were to look at who we need down there, who most people would come to see or not see, you're probably dealing with finance because of your taxes or bills paid or this or that, and building and planning. Now, I know we're going to say, don't worry, we have a nice little hot room. You can step in here and maybe Zoom with somebody and get going. As somebody walks in, and we've already heard about how angry people are when they come into this building, will we de-escalate them by saying, oh, please step into a booth and wait for someone to come up on a Zoom that you probably don't matter or want to talk to at this point? You want to meet with the director, which when we talk about centralized customer service, you would phone up and say, please come down the elevator. We have someone here that wants to discuss. The customer service portion of this going down there, in theory, sounds great. It's a great concept. In the practical, everyday, what we're doing here, probably doesn't work. No different than closing in windows that we're now going to open up. We were told that's not going to work. It's not working. They want money to open it back up. So are we moving customer service down there and then in 2.5 years realizing that was a bad idea and bringing them back and reinventing and reinvigorating? Or should we fix the building down there and come up with a proper concept where we move staff that, I don't want to say nobody needs to be in this building, but let's prioritize about who needs access to the public, how that works, and where we put them. Not just this is an easy fix to put customer service, or this is a business model that you do see some large businesses do where they put customer service down there. And I'm telling you right now, if you were to deal with those businesses, you would be wild. You would say, I'm getting the runaround, I'm getting dodge and defer, this is not what I expected. So this is where I'm coming from when I'm looking at this. We've used the central model here, accessibility, we have a wheelchair ramp, we have an elevator. Yeah, that's a slab on grade, goes in just as easy. We're already set up here with our customer service. The people know where it is. This is the building. I mean, look at our logo. This is the building on our logo. This is the town hall. This is the people's house. You put customer service down there, that becomes where they go. It's no longer the people's house.
I'm going to ask, you got some questions there? Because there's a lot more behind it, just so I know there's plans.
So my question was,
yeah,
I will ask, so are we locating for improved services, or are we relocating because of space constraints? That'll be number one.
Okay, let's answer number. I don't know if Director Littleborn or Director Lalana want to answer the question.
All right, through the chair to Councillor Derbyshire.
The centralized customer service concept has come out of a lot of work the council has approved through the strategic plan that you did when you were first elected, through the service delivery review. It involved a lot of public consultation. I remember Strategy Corps commenting on the number of responses they had to survey work, and customer service was one of those key priorities that was identified by the public and council through a centralized customer service concept. Currently downstairs we do have customer service. However, there are some deficiencies down there, including accessibility, which will become more and more important as the population ages. So having a centralized location that offers the ability to enhance customer service through a number of staff that have also been approved by council, and the services offered, whether it's accessible through staff up here, having staff go down on a regular basis to customer service, that are clearly delivered through a communication strategy that's ongoing about customer service. It will be more efficient into the future.
Can I just ask how? We already have, like, you have centralized already, you have accessibility already, and you have the directors that you want to talk to right here. So how, and I know you said we've done tons of strategies and this and that, but strategies talked about centralized. We have centralized. They talked about accessibility. We have accessibility. The other part of it, some of this was done while the doors were all locked. So when the doors opened up, then people were allowed back in to deal directly with the people. So some of that stuff from our servicing stuff is skewed by the COVID effect. So people weren't allowed in.
Just got to comment on it because I got the notes here. The actual customer service strategy came to us September last year.
Okay.
So the door was open. I just want to point that out, Councillor. But let Heather answer your question, and we'll. Right, you guys answer your question.
Yeah, my question was how. How are you, like, how is this getting better?
Yeah.
Than being right in the place where everyone is?
Further to the comments I've made earlier, I think it's important to realize that having that centralized location allows not only for customer service to be there, but some of the key departments, and as we phase in future parts of that development, it allows for things like extended hours that public can access that center for customer service. Well, perhaps they're doing an event down there, or they're enlisted in a program, or they're coming to a meeting. So there is the ability to expand beyond normal town hall hours here down at 137 Frank Street. And yes, we can do it here. But parking is a challenge here at times. And as I said, the accessibility, it will be key moving forward. Parts of the customer service that are currently located downstairs here do not allow for people to come in and really discuss some sensitive subjects, whether it's dealing with finances, dealing with the loss of a loved one, dealing with some personal situations. Currently, there is no space, no private space at customer service for us to be able to conduct those conversations.
Yep. I just want to comment on that because I know this. I think the idea too in the plan is for more wickets, correct? If wickets is the correct term, because downstairs it's cramped, you just have room for two. I think the eventual plan is more than 2, 3, maybe 4 in the future, right? So there is a space issue downstairs, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, sorry, go ahead, Councillor.
Sorry, when you talk about wickets, you mean 2 customer service people?
Yeah.
So you need 3 or 4 customer service people?
Yeah.
Because it's so busy. Like, is that what we're saying, that daily we need 4 people down in the...
Well, if you want to extend hours, there's a plan for them to...
And I understand that. I don't see how everything you're saying we're already implementing here. Except for now we're actually going to take it from here where the directors that they want to talk to are and put it down there. Why are we not taking communications, or some departments that don't necessarily need to be here or are asked by the public, why are they not going down there? Like, and as part of the other plan, I know we don't even want to talk about phase 2, that if we're originally pushing through with what was done, council chambers was actually presented as the approved 500.
No, and we rejected it.
When did we reject that?
I think we rejected it.
But if you go back, you can pull up the file. I had the file put on. The original thing that was sent through had the council chambers in it as phase 2. So if what we heard was we're moving forward because council approved everything essentially in a thing, then it should have been council chambers going down there, not the seniors place. So when you look at that, we're moving forward with a project that we didn't approve. And if we did approve, because that's why they're moving forward, then it's the council chamber design that was approved.
I don't think so. Let's move on.
Of course.
Next question.
Of course.
Councillor Wilsey, then Councillor Kennis.
I just wanted to bring up some of the discussions that we had, just so that the public's aware that we had during the strategy meeting. Is we were told by staff that the renovations had already begun. And at the same time that the renovations are being done, we were developing plans, but the renovations weren't necessarily matching the plans, so we're going to have to change the plans to match the renovations that we're currently going. So that started this whole discussion, and it got really heated during that meeting. The other part that I was looking at, and we've been talking about this, and this is the third project tonight where we've put something in the budget and staff has got it, and we heard the director ask about what to do with a $250,000 washroom, how staff should proceed. This is $1 million project. I don't think an RFP has gone out. We don't have plans yet. We're using internal staff, so we're not tendering it. This is way beyond procurement and what any director can do. So, like, really, this project, council hasn't approved it. Council, listening to the discussions in this room, we don't know what the final plans are. We don't know what we've approved, what we're discussing. We don't know if it's council chambers or a senior center. Depending on the reports, it could be either, because there is no firm council decision. We just don't know what we're doing, and staff's going ahead with renovations while they're making drawings that are going to be updated to match the renovations that are done, and we're not tendering. So we're against the procurement bylaw. We're going against just about everything for council procedure. And I just want the public to know that.
I'm just going to jump in, and I wasn't going to do this, but I feel I should do it now. The motion that was passed, the motion for the first word was renovate. That's a verb. That's an action word. By that word, we gave staff, in my interpretation, we told staff, reimagine, the first word to them, the first sentence was renovate and repurpose for municipal use. So we told them to go ahead and renovate. That was the very first word in the motion. And I may agree there's some misinterpretation about the comments, but the actual motion were the 4 points.
So on that fourth point, can you read this paragraph after that came up in the meeting where it talked about bringing it back to council before any work was done?
That wasn't part of the motion though, Councillor.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Just read the entire thing.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Well, we're not going to go because I'll call for the vote. That was not part of the motion.
It is. It says it's option 4 is picked. Then you have to get that.
It was a comment. Should council approve? It was actually not part
It's
of
a
the
comment?
Yeah, clerk, the motion's here in front of me. I can read it back to you.
Could I ask the clerk to put it up on the screen so everyone can see it? It is part of the minutes.
Yeah.
Give you the page and the paragraph, and right where it says it, I'll read it out here, but it's going to be up, hopefully up on the screen in a minute. Should council approve option 4, staff would return with a further report seeking funds, approximately $25,000, to approve and engage A-Link to prepare detailed concept drawings to develop a Class C costing for council's consideration.
Yep. Yep. Got it right here somewhere. So it wasn't part of the actual motion. It's right here. Yeah.
Should we choose that?
The actual verbiage that you sent me.
Nobody
Yep.
else has. Talking about this.
Well, it's in tonight's documents. There it is,
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. But that was part of the motion. That's part of the document where the October report. The actual motion was just the first 4 points.
But we picked option 4.
Yeah, hang on here. I made the motion.
Yep.
I made the motion.
Yep.
We're going to mention 137 Frank Street for municipal use.
Yep.
It's concepts. Renovate.
Well, I'm not arguing that, I just be making a
We're
point.
talking about concepts here.
Yep.
And people are saying, we were told we could go ahead and do stuff. No, we weren't. These are concepts.
Yep.
This is concepts about what we're going to do. And the report came in and said, should you take option 4, which we did, the staff are going to come back. And so, as I started, I think they did that at strategic priority. Some of it's missing still, but that's fine. We can move on from there. I'm not.
Because the motion I got, said, yeah. All right, let's, Councillor Kennis.
You know, we've talked about this a lot since last September, and we talked about it last Monday, and we're talking about it now. The majority of the people sitting at this table are in favor of moving forward with this, and so I would like to call the vote, and let's vote on it. And if there is great opposition, then the motions will be defeated.
Okay, you've called
It's
for the
not.
vote.
Well, hang on, that's a 2/3 majority.
Yep.
That's stopping, that's a procedural thing.
Yeah, we got it, yeah, 2/3.
Okay, so.
All in favor of calling?
I'm seconding the motion.
Seconding the motion.
Can we reread the motion? Yeah. I was not there on Monday, so I
Well,
need
we
to
got a
know.
new motion here tonight.
They have a
Motion
motion
is to
on
vote.
to stop
We're
discussion.
going on the motion to call for the vote. That's a motion in front of us. All in favor of calling the motion, the vote?
Sure.
Looks like that carries. That carries. Okay, you want to reread the?
Okay. I tried as long and I did.
I hope in 2 years.
That council approved the relocation
Exactly
of
like the
customer
windows.
service to 137 Frank Street.
Idiots.
And further, that council approved the plan identified as phase 1 as presented at strategic priorities on April 13th, 2026. And further, that staff bring back a report of all past reports on building deficiencies found in past engineering reports, and that they include solutions to address any deficiencies that may be there. And further, that staff bring back a report that addresses how the exterior of the building will be addressed. There was an amendment suggestion, and I didn't get that.
The word concept came out of the first
Yes, that's
line,
correct.
and,
The addition of the workshop
oh, yes.
at the back of the property.
Okay.
So that would be in item 2, that we approve phase 1 as identified, and the workshop
Correct.
area for staff.
Yeah, you have a second. Councillor Brennan.
I'd call for a recorded vote, please.
Okay. Okay. We'll go this. Councillor Hippel, yes or no?
Yes.
Councillor Kennis.
Yes.
Councillor Wilsey.
Yes.
Councillor Brennan.
Yes.
Councillor Pelkman.
Yes.
Councillor Derbyshire.
No.
Councillor Palmer.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor.
Yes.
I'm in favor. Motion carries. Now I'm going to ask for a motion for a recess until 8:10 p.m. So, Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Hippel. All in favor of the motion carries.
Thank you.
right?
Okay, motion to reconvene, Councillor Tolkman, second by Councillor Brennan, all in favor, motion carries. Now we will have the much awaited museum annual report.
All right. Thank you again. Sorry about my tardiness before. My chess club very much thanks you for letting me run between both. Hello, everyone. I also heard that you did already pass our year in review, which is wonderful to hear, but I'd love to still be able to show you and tell you all about everything that we're doing. So as you can see up on the slides, we do have attached to the report a more detailed statistics report, which has stats going back, I think, 5 or 6 years now, so you can see the trajectory in that report a bit better. But what you can see on the board is everything that we've expected to go up has gone up, which is wonderful news for us. One thing I actually didn't put on this slide, but our website views have significantly increased. Last year, we did, along with the municipal's website and fire and police, have the updated version, and so it's all sleek and new and pretty. And I haven't done a deep analysis on whether or not that's correlated to our increased website views, but it could be a result of that. So we're really excited to see that people are checking us out from even further away. Next up on the slide, I want to just take a moment to really thank our seasonal staff, our interns, our co-ops, our volunteers. We had an extremely exceptional year for these individuals at the museum. While we are always open to these positions, it's not always the case that people need them from us, so it's really wonderful to see that we had them. Brianna, our museum assistant, was a great addition to our team in the summer, but what really set us apart this year was Jacinta. She was our co-op student, which we'd never actually had in the summer before, but she was able to complement Brianna so well and really elevate our games this year. We also had Dina. She was an intern from the Fleming College Museum program, and she was very instrumental in helping Crystal in the collections prepare for our new shelving units, which I have another slide later on that. So it was really great to have that extra set of hands in the back. We also had a large number of volunteers, both returning and new last year, and they helped with kind of everything you can think of, from programs, special events, transcribing, research, and more shelving. So truly a massive thank you to all these people that helped make the museum truly a community space. On to exhibits, our bread and butter as a museum. So we had 5 exhibits in the main gallery through 2025, with 2 pop-up exhibits in the main lobby. This year began with I say this year, I keep thinking 2025. Last year began with the continuation of the traveling exhibit Broken Promises, which also was a great partnership with the Glencoe Historical Society to foster that local connection. Following that, we had the March Public Art exhibit, which was our first public art exhibit that followed our new public art policy. Say public art 5 times in a sentence and you'll be where I'm at. This was a huge success. It was the first time that we had done it. We had 2 artists in this space, and we saw within 1 month over 2,500 visitors. So that's a huge number through. And our second public art policy, or second public art exhibit following the same policy in September, saw nearly as many visitors through as well. So this is a very exciting number. This year in 2026, I left a little art show pamphlet on everyone's desk. We have the SDCI art group or art class coming for our May art show, and you're all more than welcome to stop by for their opening. In between the art shows, though, we did have an in-house exhibit. It was the Art of Printing, which did explore the Strathroy Age Dispatch and did feature heavily the museum's 1800s Washington printing press. This was a special project that we carried over from the year before for it to get fixed up. It was really great to be able to highlight it in the exhibit, use it in programming, in the camps, do special demos. We even had some program where volunteers could come in and help us clean the typepiece and preserve it for future moving forward. So this was an extremely well-received exhibit, and I think on record, one of our most attended per month. So that was really cool to see. And our year ended with another in-house exhibit called In the Chair, Haircuts and Toothaches, which was a really great collaboration project with Museum London, Elgin County Museum, Wellington County Museum, and introduced a new partnership to us, the Elgin Theatre Guild, which donated some salon chairs that people could sit in and put the big dryers on their heads, and it was really fun to see. Lastly, I do want to give an update on the last point here under the lobby displays, the history of Strathroy-Caradoc. So this is a project that we've been working on for a few years, and we are extremely excited. I'm just waiting on IT to come help me fix the sound because I don't know what I did, but it is an interactive touchscreen that will be permanently in the museum's front lobby on the history of Strathroy-Caradoc. You'll be able to interact with the history through a map as well as through a timeline. And so we're really excited that no matter what exhibit is on in our main gallery, people can still come learn about the history of our area. So once that is up and running, I will give everybody a big come see it. And we also want to thank another collaboration that helped us with this, was a group of students from the University of Toronto, as well as our contact at Chippewa of the Thames First Nation. So again, a massive thank you to those partners. Programs. So as you can see from the stats, we did increase our program participation overall, bringing back new and returning programs. As you can see in the review as well, we also saw an increase, a 43% increase in numbers of campers from 2024 into 2025. That was already on top of the 23% increase we saw from the year before. So we're well on our way to maxing out our capacities there, and especially with that return, with that co-op student Jacinda, like I said, and Brianna and all their hard work that they did for last year to be amazing. We're really excited to see what our new seasonal does hold. And again, I highlighted it there on the slide, but we did have a special event last year for Sir Arthur Currie's 150th birthday. It was truly a wonderful event. And again, thank you to our amazing volunteers, our fabulous guest speakers, and the partnership with the Great Canadian War Society, which put it above and beyond. Birthdays come around every year, but not the 150th of the man that's statue in front of our museum. So it was really great to have everyone come out to see it. All right. Normally I'd get a break here because Crystal, our collections and research coordinator, would take over. She sends her regrets, but she is unable to be here tonight. So I will just say we had 125 new items accepted into the collection, and I picked just 3 to put on the slide for you. I'd like to highlight the Dr. Vine and Agnes McKay letters. We already have a volunteer working on transcribing them, which is really quick turnaround for those, but these letters are from just under 100 years ago, and while it is a really interesting glimpse into the doctor history of the area, I really love seeing their relationship move forward, and they're quite interesting going back and forth. These letters will actually be featured in an exhibit coming later this year called Signed, Sealed, and Delivered. So you'll be able to get an up-close and personal look at these letters, as well as the transcripts to actually be able to read. I know not everyone can read cursive, but you'll be able to read the transcripts of them. All right, special projects. So just a couple updates on these that we've been working on. The Heritage Trail signs are done and just waiting to be installed. Once they are done, we will be inviting all of council, and we'll be revamping our walking tours of both Strathroy and Mount Bridges. There are signs elsewhere in the community. They're not part of that centralized walking tour, but we will invite everyone to have a wonderful walking tour to showcase these signs, which have new images, new information, and a couple new signs that weren't in the original Heritage Trail. Also on that list was the restoration of the printing press, which I did already talk about. And of course the Poppy Project. We saw another really strong year. We had the return of the panels at Town Hall. The installation at the gazebo at Mount Bridges was actually twice as big as last year. And we also added a piece on the museum, which is a beautiful backdrop to the cenotaph. We have more poppies, we are figuring out what to do with them next. So stay tuned for this year. And if you could just go to the next slide, I really wanted to highlight our collection storage. We've been bursting at the seams with our wonderful items in our collection, and thanks to the capital funding last year, we were able to install 252 square feet of additional shelving and 60 square feet of hanging storage. Crystal has been hard at work reorganizing, and we are hoping that once everything is clean and polished and organized, we will actually be able to open up the back for behind-the-scenes tours. I've never brought anyone back there that didn't like it, and so we're really excited to showcase. We have nearly 40,000 items in our collection, and that doesn't count the thousands of photo negatives. We want to make sure that the collection is accessible to the public as possible, and while we're always open to research requests and people coming to see them for more private tours, it'd be really great to have this more steady tours come through. Last slide. These are just some quotes from various volunteers, programming, research that I put up on the board. Just nice for you guys to look at. But I'm also happy to answer any questions as well. Thank you.
Just real quick, one suggestion. You talked about the poppies.
Mm-hmm.
Have you reached out to Melbourne? Because we have a cenotaph in Melbourne. Has anybody contacted the folks in Melbourne?
Yes, so we actually talked within the first year of the project, and they decided to go a different direction themselves. I offered support, information, and all of that, but they didn't request any poppies from us or an installation from us at this time.
Doesn't surprise me. Melbourne tends to go its own way. The second, because I'm from a Caradoc person, how much of the collection is Caradoc Township, whether it's Mount Bridges, Melbourne? Is there a big portion?
This is where I wish I had Crystal. She knows those numbers more than I do. We do have a significant portion from across the municipality and even just outside. I don't know the number off the top of my head, and we are always accepting, so if you know of anything.
Okay. Any other questions? Councillor Pelkman.
I can remember from when we cataloged everything that was on Oxford Street, and there was a significant amount of stuff from Caradoc, especially from South Caradoc, if my memory stands me correct. But if I may, I just wanted to say that, you know, there was a time where people didn't have faith in the museum, and so we didn't get good stuff to bring into our catalog of items that we have. And it's just how important it is that we've invested in the museum and invested in the staff. There are so many great stories to tell, and that's why we get the good volunteers, and that's why we're getting the people have faith in donating items to us, that they're going to be preserved and kept for the municipality to remember for a long time.
Thank you. Councillor Brennan.
I'd just like to echo that, because I've been on council for a while. It's sort of like, you know, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. And when the decision was made to move out of the old museum building on Oxford and to come over here and to have the new facility, it wasn't something that had overwhelming support. People were kind of looking at it thinking like, gee whiz, you know, is that a good use of taxpayer money? And I'm pleased to say, you know, many years later, you see how it's grown, and I think it now has a dynamic which people feel is really worthwhile, and we're seeing the benefits of it. And that's why I just like to think that, you know, when we sit on a council, we have to sometimes take the long view and make decisions that we think that maybe aren't going to pay off in the next election cycle, but will maybe have long-standing benefits for the community. So I'm really pleased to see all the great work that's happening over there. And I volunteered for a little bit when I first retired for a couple of years, doing negatives or something with the H-Dispatch. And I would highly recommend it to everyone as a volunteer opportunity. You'll learn an awful lot about your community. So thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you. This was worth waiting for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is the Glen Oak replacement construction tender award. The motion is a council award the Glen Oak Road structure replacement construction tender to BKT Excavating for $2,880 excluding HST. And further, the council award engineering service to Spree Associate for $16,310, excluding HST. Someone to bring a motion. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Canis. Were there any questions for manager? Seeing none, all in favor of the motions. Motion carries. Your 2026 sidewalk program recommendations. Motion that council direct staff to proceed with tendering the 2026 sidewalk program for the locations located in the report. Someone bring a motion. Councillor Palmer, second by Councillor Canis. Are there any questions? Deputy Mayor.
This program does not include the downtown improvement of the bricks, correct? I don't see it in here, but that project's already underway, I think I read, and, okay, so that's different project, different thing completely. Thank you.
Councillor Wilsey.
In Mount Bridges, I know we're doing the downtown study, which is doing the main part of that, but there's those sidewalks that are really narrow, that they continue beyond the section that we're looking at doing. What is the feedback of the county over what, because those are some of the most heavily traveled ones rather than the ones in some of these subdivisions. What about doing the rest of those, like the ones down around, even down towards Regent Street and where we're looking at doing some of the studies that go on further, that are outside of the scope of the downtown?
Yeah, they're actually our sidewalks, but I see
that's exactly what I was going to say.
They're under our purview,
We talked to the Director of Engineering about that, and the county worries about curb to curb and the roadway.
Sidewalks are ours.
But yeah, sidewalks are ours, so they don't get involved in it.
Okay. So I guess then the question comes up, why are we ignoring or deferring the higher traffic sidewalks in favor of the side road ones?
Through the chair to Councillor Wilsey, so that's a fair point. We do get a lot of pedestrian traffic on Adelaide. We want to get that plan in place for that downtown project, just to make sure that we're starting at the right point. At this time, we don't have that. We do know the limits, but we want to coordinate that with the approved, downtown project before we start ripping up those sidewalks and replacing them in case they do get put in the wrong location, the wrong offset, something like that. We want it to all be tied together nicely. I'll leave it at that.
Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, you have a second motion. All in favor? Opposed, if any, motion carries. Beach Street Reconstruction Tender Award. Motion that council award the project Elgin Construction for $1,343,178.38, excluding HST. And further, the council award the engineering services to BM Ross for $122,450, excluding HST. Someone bring a motion. Councillor Canis, second by Councillor Brennan. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the motions. Motion carries. Fire Services, a Community Emergency Preparedness Grant. Motion that council authorizes the execution of the Ontario Transfer Payment Agreement related to the Community Emergency Preparedness Grant or the municipality. And further, the authorizing bylaw number 34-26 be forwarded to the consideration of bylaws section. Councillor Hippel, second by Councillor Derbyshire. Any questions? Seeing none, all in favor. Motion carries. Human Resources. The Employee Pool Benefits Committee change. Three motions. The council approve the change in pool benefits. Council approves staff engaging with a claim to provide adjudication and disability management services. And further, the council approved an increase in the non-evidence maximum for LTD program for non-union staff. Someone bring those three motions forward. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Canis. Any questions? Councillor Pelkner.
Just one. I know this was done once before in my term on council, and I just wanted to make sure. So previous time, any benefits that were in place had to be matched by the new carrier. So I'm assuming that's the case this time.
Yeah. Director Payne.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, that is correct. So all benefits in this case are lateral and no deterioration, and it's the same. The only increase would be the NEM, so the evidence medical, that's the only increase that you're saying, 6,000 to 12,000.
Councillor Wilsey.
So I've got two questions. One is on the non-evidence maximum. So if we don't change this, that just means if there's a disability claim for more than $6,000 a month, the employee would have to provide evidence, right? I just want to make sure that's the only change we're asking for. And then if we don't approve that, that's a 2% savings.
So to the chair, to Councillor Wilsey, so you're correct. So the non-evidence, so that non-evidence has been in place for probably Sun Life days, so probably 20 years or so. So essentially what that is, the reason we're looking to increase it, it's 0.2% increase, not 2%, is if you want to look at it from the higher earners, so if you take a higher earner in our municipal grid, our LTD program pays at 70% of your monthly income. At 6,000, so those high earners are not getting 70% as per our plan. So by increasing to 12,000, so if a high earner was off on disability, they would get 70% of their monthly income. So that's what's driving that.
And I'm just looking at, I realize it's a small number, but small numbers add up. And if they can still get that same if they provide medical evidence, I don't see why we should spend taxpayers' money to save a very small number of staff. I think are going to go on disability and who need a $12,000 a month claim back. So I would like, I do have one other question, but I'll get to that one first before I make my next part. The acclaim requested change. There's nothing in the report about the acclaim. So you talk about acclaim being the, where was it here?
Adjudication and disability.
Yes, and you don't actually say about what that is or what cost it is or why we're changing to the other company. It asks that you're asking for us to change it and seeking approval to engage with a claim to provide disability management services. So that sounds like that lines up with the other disability one, but I guess there's nothing in the report why you want to do that change when we're changing the carrier.
Great question through the chair to Councillor Wilsey. So a claim management is as Councillor Pelkman just pointed out, disability management. So today our short-term provider is Canada Life. So if we have a member go off on short-term disability, Canada Life advises to pay. So they take all the medical from the physician, from the member, and they adjudicate that claim and they advise to pay if they meet the definition of disability. The reason we're recommending to move to a claim, I would say they have a better entourage of services available to us. What I mean by that is, if we're facing somebody with psychological issues or severe medical issues, a claim they focus specifically on this type of adjudication, and they have many services in their buckets, if you will, to offer the member. Whether that be IMEs or independent medicals, they have psychologists on staff. Not that Canada Life doesn't have access to that, not as readily. So with this slight increase, I think it's $5 more per month, you get better service and a quicker turnaround time for adjudication of claims. Currently today, Canada Life, when a claim comes in for our members, it's typically, what I'm seeing is 10 to 15 days. As per our contract, is we have to have a first initial answer in 5 days. A claim has a dedicated specialist for their customers. So we deal with the triage. We call Canada Life, and we can get any member of Canada Life that's not. They just pick the claim up. They don't have a dedicated team. So that's why we're recommending it. If I can, I've talked to a local municipality that has recently switched to a claim as well, and they're saying the same things. They have a better entourage of services available for the members. For the cost justification, it just made sense. So hence the reason I'm recommending that.
So as a follow-up, if I can get a second over this, I would like to make a motion that we vote the third motion about the increase in non-evidence maximum separate from the other ones, just as a separate vote.
No, we brought the motion to see if they, understand, you just want to, we need from the.
You're just requesting to split the vote.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep, okay.
It was the deputy mayor and Councillor Kennis.
Okay, are you okay with splitting?
Yeah, split the vote.
That's all you just had to check. You okay with that, Councillor Kennis?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll go with the first two motions. I apologize, any more questions? Okay, the council approved the change in pool benefits carrier, and the council approved staff engaging with the claim. All in favor of that? Opposed, if any? Motion carries. Third one was council approved the increase in the non-evidence maximum for its long-term disability program for non-union staff. Do you want to bring that motion, Councillor?
It's already been.
We already did, okay.
It's
Yep.
sitting there.
Just sitting there all along, okay, apologize. Yep, so all in favor of approving that? Opposed, if any? Motion carries, thank you.
Can I ask one more question? I know it's approved.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah.
Just for clarification, Director Payne, the increase that you put on there, is that savings or an increase over our current, so is our current premium still going up? Or are we just, so I guess my question is, are we getting a smaller increase? Or are we actually staying the same or getting a savings over our current premium? Because the absolute numbers weren't in the report.
Great question. So our renewal comes up June 1st for Canada Life today. With the rates that they provided for renewal, we're seeing with the switch to equitable, 36%.
Right, and I get that, but what is our current rate? Is it still an increase from our current rate that we're seeing, or
No,
is it?
It's a reduction. So I purposely didn't put the actual number. I'm not trying to hide. In Select Path, it talks about a $13,000 a month reduction on what we're paying today.
Thank you.
Times 12 times 4 years. So it's a very healthy savings just by moving to this.
Deputy Mayor, County Council report.
Yeah, last Tuesday, the 14th of April, council received a compensation review from Pesci and Associates. It had quite a bit of discussion, surprisingly. Basically, the review compared Middlesex County to other counties. I wasn't 100% happy with the comparison situation, but we discussed a whole bunch of things. One of the things that we did agree to was going to kind of a all-inclusive annual salary model for council, eliminating the per diem payments for committee and board meetings, but we did maintain the per diems for those attending conferences. There was a recommendation from the consultant that the use of, or that the payment for cell phone be removed, but the laptop provision, so cell phone that's provided to me by the county and laptop provided to me by the county, we would keep the laptop, we would not keep the cell phone. That was defeated, that we are keeping the cell phones. This is something probably this council should put some thought to. The concept of carrying a phone dedicated for use, and I also use it with the approval of the county, I use it for Strathroy-Caradoc, is that none of my personal stuff is being compromised when I'm using my county phone, as I call it. So if there was a complaint made and somebody said, I want you to produce, or I want your electronic device, the ombudsman comes in or IC comes in and they want the device, and take the device. That's all the emails, that's all the text, there's your phone calls in relation to politics. You're not touching my personal device. And of course, when we started this 3.5 years ago, we had a lot of conversation about keeping those two things separate, right? And the reasons why. So that is why I think ultimately I was the one that spoke quite loudly about that. That is why I think council voted that they would keep the cell phone for county councillors, and quite honestly, I think we should be providing one to all county, or sorry, to all Strathroy-Caradoc council members for the same reason. So We did an investment policy update. The last one was 1997, so you can imagine it did need to be updated. There wasn't, anything drastic change to it, but it brought it up to 2026. Dedicated gas tax refunds, the county received $111,343. We're using that towards public transportation. You heard a bit about it tonight from the warden. That would be the Intercommunity Transportation Service, MLPS bylaw. That was brought up to new standards. This has been in 3.5 years, this bylaw has been in and out and back and forth and changes. MLPS is, with the help of legal, that whole corporate governance is really going through what we did with Caradoc Housing. For an easy analogy, they've really looked at it. How does this governance model work? How must it work? All of those things, and that governance model has now been brought in. I don't want to bore you with all the details about that, but that needed to happen. We did hear about the homelessness prevention program. And Connecting Journeys is one of those one of the programs inside of the HPP, as they call it. So the emergency shelter solution and community outreach, housing assistance, supportive housing, all of those occur there. So the county, and you heard it this evening, they're dealing a lot with that. The Countryside Hotel is the Middlesex Accommodations Program. And for numbers, 2025 numbers, 88 individuals of age 18 to 87 were serviced, representing 25 households, and there was also an additional 12 dependent children that received servicing through that. So it's a good program serving a lot of people.
Yeah, thank you. Now some inquiries by members. I'm going to go first. This meeting. I'm going to have a request for a report or information report. So, Walter, we had talked about this. We had discussions about the Lake Huron pipeline going down Christina Road. So this shouldn't come as a surprise. You've had further conversations or phone calls from ex-councillor Cowan, and he and I have the same concern. So my concern is this. I don't know if anybody's been down Christina where it's going. It's on the west side. The concern is this, about any damage to the road. Second is about any damage to trees that we had wanted to stand. Just what is the accountability or the restitution of the contractor and restitution for the municipality. And I know you had said, the agreement may have been signed a number of years ago, but just knowing there's the possibility of something could happen, because I was down there the other day and it's really close to the road, Walter. So, through Rob can we review the contract and see how the municipality would be made whole if there's major damage to the road or major damage to trees? It is a concern of mine. I wasn't so concerned until I drove down and I saw where some of the lines are on the west side. So just want to make sure we're covered. Okay, it does have to be a length report. I just would like somebody to review the contract with either the contractor or the water board to make sure.
Is that?
Go ahead, because I know you'd see it too, Councillor.
Well, my question would be, is this not a county or province project? Like, I don't know how deep our director would even be involved in this.
Well, I think the issue would be, it'd be both, right? Because I'm now quasi-chair, but it's our road, right? So I want to know what was the involvement? Did anybody come to the municipality and make sure that we're covered in terms of...
That would be illegal.
Right, that's what I'm just trying to find out, who can answer that question. Councilor Richard, you go down there, it's really close to the side of the road.
Yeah, no, I just wouldn't have done it here. I'd asked.
Yeah, I just...
Closed and said, can somebody please get me the contract? I'm there, I think I should see it, but that's...
I want all the council to see it though.
Yeah, I get it, but you're kind of putting them on the spot here in the middle of the show, so...
We talked about it before though.
I can briefly speak to it. So it is a regional water supply project. They did an EA, started back in 2021, I believe, 2022. That was, the route and the plan was distributed to all stakeholders, including Strathroy-Caradoc, is what I learned. Our involvement in that approval would be, we'd have a say, but through the EA process, they determined that the best path was Falconbridge to Christina and the route they took. Those lines that you're referring to, they may be locate lines. Just a heads up, that might be the Bell line that they've located. I'm not sure if they've done offset stakes yet for the actual water main installation, but my understanding, speaking with Stantec, who was the designer, is that they are in the ditch. And any damage to the roadway, it's going to be restored by the contractor. We are working through a roadworks permit at this time, so the conditions that have to be met is that they restore the tar and chip, or all those roads are tar and chip that they're going down, so those will be restored to the same or better condition as they were before they started. So happy to bring a report, but that's kind of the information I have tonight.
Thank you. I'm fine with that. Deputy Mayor, we'll go to you next.
Nothing, thank you.
Councillor Pammer.
Yeah, I just wanted to congratulate our local radio station, My FM, for a great home and leisure show on the weekend. I had the pleasure of attending for the day. It was well attended by the community and the businesses that participated. I think they did a really good job, and I would encourage them to keep it up and thank them for their hard work, because it's not easy putting those types of events together.
Councillor Derbyshire.
Nothing tonight.
Councillor Pelton.
I was also going to mention the Home and Leisure Zone, just to thank the staff and the fire department staff that were there. I know the town hall staff all took 2-hour stints, and the fire staff were there all day as well. So thank you very much to make sure that we were represented, and had some good conversations with people while I was down there.
Councillor Brennan.
Looking forward to the fire station #1 open house this coming Saturday, 12:30 to 4:30, and come on down and touch a truck. So that'll be fun. Bye-bye.
Councillor Wilsey.
I have a question. I saw that the municipality put out a job posting for the Director of Engineering position. Just my question is, how did that get started? And who approved it? Because when we had our closed meeting, we talked about the fact that we've had. No, I'm not going to bring everything
The first part of your question, just skip that second.
I'll skip the part of the closed meeting.
There you go.
And the reason I'm asking why that went forward is there was discussion that we had. And we've had, including the 2 staff, we've had 5 CEOs. This will be our 3rd Director of Engineering. We've had 3 or 4. We've had a lot of turnover. And I'm just wondering, I thought that council had the discussion where we were going to wait until the next term or not hire anyone, and then we have that discussion, and a week later I see the job posting. So I just want to just ask, why that changed is kind of the answer I've got, and I've got one more thing after that.
I can answer that one. 'Cause I do recall the discussion. It was a comment from you, but there wasn't a motion made or direction given to staff. And then organizational, if you recall, that's under the purview of the CAO. So it's his organization, so he feels he needs it. Call under the strong mayor powers, I had given my delegation of authority to the CAO, but I do remember your comment, Councillor, but it was just a comment from you. There wasn't a direction given to staff.
Okay. And then, so that's fine. And my second comment, if anyone who's listening, Councillor Derbyshire and I are having an open house at Ojo's in downtown Strathroy this Saturday from 10 to 12. Feel free to come out and have a chat with us.
Councillor Kent.
Nothing for me.
Councillor Hippel.
Thank you. I'm still having a few issues talking, so I will keep it very brief. I wanted to thank everyone that came out for breakfast on Sunday, to the Melbourne Legion, the Melbridges and Melbourne firefighters, and a lot of the Strathroy firefighters were out there serving breakfast, and my goodness, did we have quite a bit of people. We ran out. It was so well attended, and it was an awful lot of fun, and boy, can those firefighters cook. It was cook a mean breakfast. So thank you to everyone that put that together, and thank you to everyone that came. And Councillor Brennan mentioned that, I mean, we can go out to fire station in Strathroy and to the open house, which we've been all really excited about seeing. So please come out on Saturday, because that will be fantastic. I wanted to say one thing. I know that I missed the last couple meetings, and that's for reasons that, you know, most people know, and that's fine. But a lot of people are talking election. You know, we're making decisions because the election is coming. We're saying these things because the election is coming. We're doing things because the election is coming. I think what I really wanted to say is that, you know, all of us have been expressing our opinions from day one. We always have, whether we did them with exuberance or we did them quietly. It doesn't really matter. We all have our own opinions, and we get to say the things that we feel is right, or that we feel we need to say. But I want everyone to realize that we still have an awful lot of work to do, regardless of the fact that May 1st is coming. So whether or not we all agree on the work that has to be done, we need to do it respectfully. It doesn't matter if we agree with one another. I think we just need to really figure out how to do this respectfully, because we're all really good people, and I think that's, we need to show that. So I think that's the end of what I'm going to say. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, consideration of bylaws. Going to ask for a motion to approve the bylaws in front of you with the inclusion of bylaw number 3126 is as amended. So a motion to give first, second, third, and final reading to the bylaws in front of you. So you Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Cass. All in favor? Motion carries. Our next meeting is next Monday at 5 p.m. We have a strategic priorities meeting. Motion to adjourn at 8:52. Deputy Mayor, second by Councillor Cass. All in favor? Motion carries.
Mayor. Thank you. Designed by law that we